On Monday, oil prices rose over 2%, with Brent crude up $1.7 or about 2.1%. That's at $84.09 a barrel, making it the highest since October 2018. Oil prices on the international market has gained more than 60% this year as the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines lifted movement curbs and subsequently all demand extending multi-weeks gains as an energy crisis gripping major economies shows no sign of easing amidst the pickup in economic activities and restrained supplies from major producers. At the same time, from Asia to Europe, the global commodity prices including those used as fuel for power generation such as coal and gas, have also surged, making oil an attractive commodity for generating power and keeping the economic activity steady as the higher demand is pushing crude market higher as the global economy treads on nascent recovery from the deadly coronavirus pandemic. Rising oil prices are posing a threat to many large economies and the developing economies, making us wonder its impact to the Nigerian economy. I introduced her earlier. She's Noelle Okwedy. She's an analyst at the energy analyst at Stears Business. It's good to see you, Noelle. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Tolulope. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well. Price of crude hitting over $80. To me, I see more money coming for oil-producing countries like Nigeria. Even our budget for 2022 is predicated on like $57 per barrel. But really, in true, if we want to be realistic, is this really true money? What do you make of this improvement?
Well, if you look at the fundamentals or what's behind the increase in crude oil price, it's because of the energy crisis currently being experienced in Europe and Asia. So what happened is that, that countries are trying to move towards more clean sources of energy, like natural gas. And over the winter, like the past winter, they used up their stored natural gas. So now they're having to buy more natural gas, and supply is not reaching up to demand. So right now, natural gas is more expensive, which is probably one of the reasons why that's definitely one of the reasons why cooking gas is as expensive as it is right now, just because there's more demand for natural gas than supply. So this is causing people to look to alternatives like oil and coal, and that's just why the cost of crude oil is increasing. But in the coming months, it's forecasted that supply of natural gas is going to go up. So the need for alternatives might slow down, and that might make the price of crude oil also go down. So we're not sure how long this high price of crude oil is going to last. That's just the problem I see.
Okay, a two-in-one question now. This looks like a good deal for shale oil producers because whenever crude looks pretty, the price looks pretty good in the market, shale oil producers can get to work and start to crack some, make some more money. But I'm now looking at the subsidy angle of it for Nigeria. Already NNPC came up yesterday to say that as it is, we are paying more on subsidy because, of course, the price of crude remains on the high side. Landing cost of PMS remains on the high side. And we continue to subsidize. Where are we? Where do we stand? Can we put this side by side?
Yes, so that's the issue that Nigeria faces. For other countries, when crude oil prices are high, it's good news because it means more revenue for them. But for Nigeria, it means more revenue, but at the same time, it means more expenditure because we're spending more on subsidies. And another thing that doesn't help our case is the fact that we're not producing as much oil as we used to. In September, we produced 1.25 million barrels per day. And in August, it was 1.23, which was the lowest we've had in a long time, even before the pandemic. We're supposed to be producing, for context, we're supposed to be producing about 1.8. So you can see the huge gap. So the fact that we're not producing as much as we need to, and also the fact that we're paying subsidies just reduces what we take home at the end of the day. So it's not good news for Nigeria, or it's not as good as it is for other countries.
Good stuff there. Now looking at all markets coming back at that activation of restrictions, vaccinations, people are getting back to work, and all of this. Do we see that steady rise in the price of crude? Let's also put on side OPEC and OPEC plus countries. I think there are agreement to continue to increase production. What impact will this have in the market as we move to as we're already in the last quarter of the year? What do you think would happen in that market? Let's weigh all of these options.
Okay, so the oil market is just the energy market, just like any other market, which is influenced by the powers of the supply. So right now, OPEC production, because OPEC they are still gradually increasing the quantity of supply of their members. So for now, supply isn't where it needs to be, but demand is surging because, like you said, people are getting vaccinated, economies are opening up, 100% production levels again. So right now, demand is high, supply isn't so high. So we're seeing crude oil prices at $80, but when stabilize, when supply also goes up, demand as stable, things will become more stable. It won't be as high as it is now. We'll go back to maybe $50 or so. So this is just because of the energy crisis. Like I said, there's heightened demand, not as much supply. So it's just like a normal market. Let's look at it like that.
Refining is something that is very important in this part of the world that we must work on. Everyone talks about Dangote refinery when we talk about refining. What do you make of government's efforts at this time trying to revisit, refurbish, reactivate? I don't know which other word to use. That's starting with the Port Harcourt refinery, and I think from there they're moving towards the Kaduna. And do you think that's the way to go, considering what we face with regards to foreign exchange challenges based on importing of petroleum products?
Well, if you look at it holistically, you can see the government's motivation for wanting to refurbish the refineries. On one hand, like, we know how much Nigeria spends on importing fuel, and it's a lot. I think, I saw a report that as at this month, it's about $600 million or so, over $600 million. And like, right now we're suffering from foreign exchange scarcity or dollar scarcity. So we're using a few precious dollars to import fuel when we could be making or refining fuel for ourselves. So it's not helping the fact that we're importing fuel. So you can see the government's motivation from that angle. But the thing is, these refineries, they've been costing a lot of money. Like, they cost the NMPC billions of naira every year. And so the thing is, it has to be done properly, and it has to be done right. The refurbishment has to be prudent. This isn't the first time that they've said they're going to rehabilitate the refineries, but nothing was done. So if the government is serious about actually refurbishing these refineries, then we could see a change in Nigeria's fuel importation situation. But if not, it's just going to be another pipe dream, I guess.
The pipeline. So, in all fairness, let me put you a little bit on the spot. Don't worry, it's just a light one. Do you think that we could take off subsidy anytime soon? In the PIA, it shouldn't be paid anymore, and even budgetary allocations are not made, no provisions for subsidy. So, what do you think about that in straight terms? Okay,
in my opinion, subsidies should have been removed before now. And like, I get that the PIA says that subsidies should be removed, but if you look at the economic situation in Nigeria, it's just not the right time for any government, politically, for any government to be making the lives of Nigerians more expensive than it is now. Inflation is in double digits, prices of things are increasing every day. People are just not happy. And then, so it's a tough decision for any government to make, and especially for this government, which, if I might say, isn't so popular. So it's not going to be an easy decision. But for the economic situation of Nigeria, it needs to be done, because, like, just looking at how much it's costing us and how much we're losing from revenue that we should be making from crude oil, when other countries are happy about high prices. for Nigeria, it's a mixed bag. We can't really be happy. NNPC can't fully be happy because it means more expenditure for them. So these are just things that the government has to consider. But so it's not an easy decision. So I actually sympathize with the government for whenever they decide to take it off, because it's not going to be easy.
This is not the best time to be either the Minister of Petroleum or the top office of the NNPC. This is not the best time at all. I agree with you that it's not. But let's wrap up on this note. What do you make of the level of implementation of the PIA? We see NNPC being incorporated. The certificate has already been presented to the president. We see this fast move. We see the downstream commission and all of that being set up, and the Senate already, reeling out names and already checking who will head where, who will be here. What do you make of the level of implementation?
Well, I think it's great for Nigeria because the PIA has been 20 years in the making. And we've wasted a lot of time, really. And now we're seeing international oil companies leaving. Today I read that, or a few days ago, I read that ExxonMobil is also leaving. Shell has left. They're divesting from their onshore assets and moving solely towards offshore assets just because of the level of insecurity and how hard it is to do business in Nigeria. So anything that the government and the NNPC can do right now to fast track the implementation of the PIA, so that these companies can, if there's anything that they can do to stop these companies from leaving or keep Nigeria's oil sector viable for investors, then I think that they need to do it and they need to move fast. So it's a good thing that they're moving as fast as they are.
I really must appreciate you there, Noelle Okwedy. She's an energy analyst at Stears Business. Thank you very much for joining us on the show again today. We sure will reach out to you when we have issues around this very strategic sector, oil and gas. We'll reach out to you again to join us, share your views.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.